Welcome back to another episode of Searching for McGuffin with your hosts. Not him. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Gabe.
Link.
And I'm Sammy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, speaking to the mic, sir.
You know what? Let's pick this up.
There you go. Rookie mistake, but it's all
It's
good.
okay.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
So what was your name again, sir?
My name is Sammy.
Sammy?
Yes.
How do you know us?
So I grew up with you guys here in Miami, actually. It all started
Oh.
long ago.
When
what year was it? I believe it was like 2012.
No, I met you later.
I met you later. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
I
true.
come in book 2.
I like that.
11 because that's when I came back from Guam.
2011. There we go. So then I started our relationship, especially with soccer. Then with Link when I went to Southern in college.
And we Narnia is actually what created this friendship.
Exactly.
Really?
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
You guys were watching Chronicles of Narnia together?
We were at a party and everyone was just, knocked out doing things.
The Friday night.
It was a Friday night, yeah. And just Sammy and I were in the basement like good Christian
It
boys.
sounds like a great party. Everyone's knocked out.
We were good Christian boys. We were like, let's just watch Narnia. And then we watched it. And it was
Exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember when the first time I met Sammy, I was like, who? Because I had like grown up, and he went to the school that I grew up going to, and soccer was kind of like my thing at school. And then I got back. I came back from Guam to the school, and then everyone's talking about this new kid. He's like a god at soccer, and I'm like, bro, who is this guy? And then I meet Sammy, and then it's kind of just like that, like, all right, let's see what he's got. And like I think they invited me to go like practice and play with him and stuff like that. And then I just see Sammy get the ball, and he's quick, but he's just doing the same, like he's like spamming the same move over and over again, but he's getting everyone. And I'm like, how are you guys?
I learned all my moves from Eng.
Lisan Al Gaib.
And so that was, and I think after that, like we started playing soccer together, and that built our friendship from there, and kind of never looked back since.
Exactly. And then there would be times when we were at Southern, all of us, and I decided there was at least one point throughout that year where I was like, let me rewatch Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yes. And every time I was watching it throughout those years, Gabriel would walk in and see me watching it.
Yeah, so much so to the fact that like he was so into watching Avatar, and when we were in college, that I would like knock on his door, his room. I'd ask his roommate if he was up, and then his roommate would be like, "Nah, I think he's sleeping," and I'm like, "Yeah, we're right." I walk in, lights are off, the guy shut down. He was like on the second. He was on a bunk bed. He was on the second. He was on the top bed, and I'm just staring at him in the dark. I'm just like, I know you're not sleeping. just wait there for like a minute more,
And I'd be like, stare into my face like,
and then I'll be like, all right, he's not getting up, and I'll be like, okay, that's how it is. Bye.
and once
Bless
he would
you.
leave,
Thank you.
I walked away, and as soon as like I walked, and you sell it.
yeah. Once you left the room, I'd be like, Alan, is the coast clear? I'll get up, open the laptop, be like, one more episode. Here we go.
That's how important I think Avatar has obviously been to Sammy, and that's why we obviously invited him to be on the episode because
He'd rather watch it than hang out with friends.
he is our resident
Well,
Avatar expert. He has a doctorate in Avatar.
I have a doctorate in other things, but not Avatar.
So yeah, Mr. Sammy here is a doctor.
I think you're the most qualified person we've ever had on our show.
No.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
you're the highest qualified
I
person.
think you have the highest degree.
The highest degree, yeah.
First of all, you guys
Anyone.
honor me, allowing me to be on the show, on this podcast. I've been seeing you guys, especially, and I'm like, man, when am I gonna be able to come here and speak about something that I'm passionate
the
about?
The Avatar live action show got announced, and he's like, "That's mine."
That's mine.
I was awaiting a text from Gabriel. I was like, yo, if he doesn't text me,
Boy was like, "My honor." So that's obviously we had to get you on the show to talk about the live action because there's a lot. We know that the animated show means so much to each of us and to so many people that we've had previous experiences where it wasn't so great in live action. Obviously referring to the movie to the point where like people don't even acknowledge that as like being a real thing.
Yeah.
I can only take the first 15.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, that is true. And so that's one of the things I think we were kind of like, skeptical about, like, why are we doing live action?
Yeah.
But at first, the creators of the animated show were behind the Netflix show.
And then they left.
And then we get news that they're going to leave, and now everything's like, how do we
Yeah, and
feel
that's where I'm weary now. Like, these people left their show.
Obviously, too, because Netflix doesn't have a great track record with the shows that they adapt,
With
especially from animated
adapting
material.
cartoon, yeah, exactly.
I mean, Cowboy Bebop is one of those things. It's like my favorite anime, but it's like
ruined it.
They put it into live action, and it was. I watched all of it like begrudgingly, but it was atrocious. It was terrible. So I
Death
think
Note, right, as well.
I never watched it, but
Me
yeah,
neither,
I heard it was terrible.
The only good adaptation they have made so far, besides Avatar now, is
One Piece.
One Piece.
And I haven't even watched it.
And I haven't even seen One Piece because it's too many episodes.
That's true.
The anime, not the.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe they're learning from their mistakes and they're getting better. I also didn't really like I hadn't seen anything from Avatar, but I didn't like the style, which like how Cowboy Bebop looked, and like even from what I saw from One Piece, how Netflix shoots it, like just the way that it looks.
Yeah.
So I was a little worried about that, but then the trailer drops for Avatar Last Airbender live action, and that kind of like took me by surprise. I was like, I don't know if the show's gonna be good, but from that trailer, it looks good. Like if it's like the effects look good, the bending looks good, like the music that they put behind the trailer, like, it was good. It was great. And then little by little, I think there was like little clips.
Yeah.
With like Aang fighting Boomy.
Yeah, that one turned me off.
That it's kind of like and even when I watched it in the show, I was kind of just like. I don't think I like Boomy. I think that's what it was.
The actor that played the character, or
I don't
not the character, the adaptation of Boomy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks weird.
And I would like in my head I was like, oh, I guess they spent most of their budget on that trailer
on that first episode. Yeah.
But yeah, like overall, what were your thoughts? No, he's going deep into
Boy got
journals.
notes. Oh, wrong notes.
I want you to know how important this is. Like Link actually like has notes.
Yeah.
Oh, those are actual notes.
Yeah.
That's how much they care about this.
Yeah, no.
It's important to them that they took notes on this.
All right, these are my notes. Overall thoughts. Show isn't really needed. Instead of a remake, they should have added more to the lore. The show is worthy because of Suki. 7 out of 10.
And that's it.
I concur. All right, good episode.
This podcast. All right.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you guys. I didn't have to speak.
The most educated and the shortest episode.
Exactly.
All right, what do you got, Sammy? What do you think?
Well, to begin, all of us, we actually have a group chat called The Watch, where we basically send things that have been going on currently. And when it came to the anticipation of Avatar, when we were sending the little trailers and stuff like that, we all had mixed feelings. Everyone was like,
I was negative. I was one of the negative ones. I'm like, this is going to suck.
Exactly.
I don't care about this.
We had some that were excited. Like, I was excited, but then I knew in the back, I'm just like, man, hopefully it's not a disappointment, because we have been
disappointed before, yeah. But I'm a pessimist, so because what is that quote that Zendaya has in Spider-Man? Expect the worst and you can't be disappointed.
Exactly. Something like that. Something around that.
Something about the expectations.
Yeah. And that's why I thought the movie it helped. It
Expectations.
actually helped me out.
You heard it here first. Spider-Man changed Link's life.
It did.
His philosophy in life.
Introduced me to Zendaya.
And now you just watched.
Now I watched her as Shawnee and Dune.
But we'll get to that episode soon.
That's soon, yeah.
I like it. Sammy putting himself back in the Dune
Yeah.
episode. Sammy booking himself. Lisa Lagai. All right. Okay, so let's kind of get into it. So obviously episode 1. I think episode 1
is the strongest one, right?
It is the strongest one. I think that it's supposed to set the tone, but I think they peaked.
Yeah.
With this. Which, I mean, I'm not hating on it. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a very strong episode. It shows us something that we didn't get to see.
Yes.
It's a good strategy to because you don't know if it's this binging model. You don't know how many episodes you have someone, right?
Yeah.
So you go all out on that first episode, and that's it. And then you hook them.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
And one of the things that they had the advantage is they didn't have the original creators, right? So then they were able to go a little bit off script, but still keep the story. Mm-hmm. So then what they took advantage of in episode 1 was like they took us back to the time when all the air nomads were alive.
You get to see that part.
Exactly. Beginning with that part, and it was just like, instead of beginning with that of Katara and Sokka, in the water. No, we began with Aang's life throughout that time, and we got one of the greatest, live action fighting duels between that of Sozin and that of Gyatso.
Yeah. So I think that I didn't like.
Yeah.
we didn't kind of know.
I didn't know that was Gyatso. I thought it was just an old
Sozin.
man. Yeah, Sozin. There you go. I knew it was Gyatso. I didn't know it was Sozin.
So-
Sammy's the one that told us, and I was like, "Are you sure it's not a high-ranked soldier in the Fire Nation army?"
I think they mentioned his name, and I think like when I watched, I was like, okay, but you don't really think
I didn't
about
think
it.
about it. Yeah.
It's like when he first was shown in episode 1, it was like, all right, who is this guy? Because he's definitely not Ozai.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, who is this guy? But then when they start using that of the comet, especially attacking,
Yeah.
and then that was incredible.
Mm.
And then there was a small moment where Sozin was communicating with Gyatso, because as Gyatso was fighting back, Sozin was just like, "Listen, at another time,
You would have beat me.
You would have beat me. You would have been victorious." But since, of course, they were using that of the comet's
comet.
power, yeah. And it just reminded me a little bit of, I know we can't get too much into detail, but Star Wars when Anakin Skywalker was killing the little children.
Order 66. Actually, no, I did.
No.
I did joke around on that. I did think of the same thing.
The
Oh,
young
this is it.
I was like, yo.
Just like taking. Okay, yeah.
No, that first episode, what it does is it sets the tone. Like immediately, it tells you this is not just a cartoon. It's more mature.
Yeah.
Yes, especially when
It's
people
darker.
are being burned alive.
Yeah, it's darker.
It's that's the tone. The first opening scene in episode 1, we had that earthbending, a scene.
Yeah, with like that spy's trying to
Spy
escape.
escape,
I thought
yeah.
that was great. I
Yeah.
thought that was a great way to open. Like I remember texting the show. I was like, all right, this is kind of
It's
fire.
Exactly, it set the tone. It set the tone. So
Yeah.
episode 1 definitely fantastic, especially us being able to be introduced to Aang.
Yeah, I love what they did. That they added more to it. You get me? And they gave it more backstory.
I think
So-
that's what an
So I
adaptation
enjoyed that.
should do. Like not like straight too far away from the material, but also like added its own twist, its own spin. That's
Yeah.
something that's like, okay, this makes sense. This is a good decision. It's a good choice to make.
Mm.
And I think the show like has a couple of those. I think it has those things. I think it's hard to do. Obviously, with any beloved piece of source material, it's
Yeah.
hard to do adaptations that are gonna both remain faithful and attract
New,
people
yeah.
and like that a lot of people are gonna enjoy. I mean, because from what I saw, it was like kind of mixed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
People were like on both sides of it. People love it. People hate it. People were like, eh.
I mean, your range was the movies or the show,
The
right?
movie,
A
the show.
0,
To a 10.
10.
And it's easy to beat the movie.
Yeah. So
All we had to do was beat the movie, and we're okay.
you're okay. Yeah.
And make sure it's not Ong, but Aang.
Yeah.
And what really helped as well is that this live action had at least the soundtrack, the music,
I thought the
which
music was good.
which
Mm.
bought in.
Yeah.
It gave me buy-in
Yeah.
as well. And then just to
I think I only paid attention into one part. The music in one part. Then I forgot. Yeah. But we'll talk about that one
Yeah.
later.
And just to end off on the episode 1, I loved how we got more of a backstory and an understanding of the relationship between Aang and Gyatso that we didn't get in the animation.
Yeah.
I like how they show like he was just gone, like he left.
Yeah.
He started to feel that pressure
Mm-hmm.
of the Avatar, and that caused him obviously to. Well, obviously spoilers too.
Yeah,
right?
spoilers. If you haven't
for the
seen
show.
it,
It's too late now.
What he said,
if you haven't seen it, watch the cartoon. And
That's
then
true.
and then watch this.
George. No, but I did enjoy seeing that. Kind of like how this was all going on, and like it just made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense, like why he's out there, and yeah, I think moving on to episode 2.
Really quick,
Yeah.
one thing that they introduce in episode 1 is that they do really well is the representation for the nations.
Yes.
You get me? It's in the movie, they had white people playing waterbenders, right? Waterbenders are supposed to be first
Native American.
Native American. No, but this is first people, I believe. Eskimos, I don't know. First,
Like
yeah,
Inuit,
Inuits, you're right? So the fact that they got Native Americans, first people to do this, I thought it was awesome, right? I love that when you go to the Earth Kingdom, you see not only Chinese, I guess people that represent China, but you also see Indians as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you go to the Airbenders, You see people from the Himalayas, right? Nepal.
Yeah.
And then
Monks.
to me, the firebenders are always the Japanese
The
people.
Japanese.
So I love that you got to see that. You get me? You didn't see one white person there. So it felt more real, and I like that. 'Cause that was one of my problems with the movie.
Yes.
I barely remember that movie.
I just remember the cast. They only got one part right in the cast.
And
Yue?
Yue.
And speaking about the casting, they did a fantastic job of how they casted the characters for that of episode 2. I think Link, we're gonna.
I think overall the casting was solid.
Yeah.
I think
it was solid. These are new actors. Most of these are new actors, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell. I think one of the things I disliked about the show was the acting from the main characters.
Yeah, acting, yeah.
They're
That's
kind of rough.
That's the thing. I think that delivery and just some of the dialogue that they have with each other. Yeah, it's just very they're green.
Rough. They're green. Yeah, you can tell. But then you have people like the guy that plays Zuko. That this isn't his first time, and he's in my opinion the best one out of all the young people.
And great memes too.
Great memes, yeah.
Which is important because he's one of the most.
He ran.
He's one of the most important characters in this universe. So you have to cast him correctly, and I think they did.
They did that correctly. Yeah, I think he's the only one that hits a home run. No, out of the young actors, out of the young actors.
Yeah, I think with a few acting classes they'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's just
they'll be good. It's the first time they're doing this.
Yeah. And this isn't that guy Zuko's first show. Like he was in another show called Pen 15, and that show's hilarious if you haven't seen it. And he's great in it. Like he's a side character, but he's good in it. But yeah, you can tell he's the most experienced one, which made, in my opinion, my favorite character in that show. Second favorite.
I think as a character, I think Sokka, like the guy who plays Sokka, I think he did a good job of playing Sokka.
Yeah.
I think he really captured that.
He wins you over.
Sokka. Yeah.
He wins you over.
Yeah, because I know that there was like talk about like, oh, like he's not going to be a certain way. And everyone started taking it like, oh, you're already changing the character. Oh, this is going to be terrible.
But even then, I feel like it wasn't that bad.
No, because I feel like in Avatar, like he just makes a lot of like jokes about like
sexist jokes.
The man is supposed to do this lead and like girls can't do this. And they just took that out, which I think is fine.
But can you blame him? Like he doesn't have you get me? He's in a society where the men do all that, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a parent. He doesn't have a mom. He doesn't have a dad, right? So he thinks this is my job to be the protector.
Exactly.
I think it's fine. Like if he's not like making those comments from the show, like I think that's okay. Like that's not like a character defining trait.
Yeah, I can understand why people were mad, but when I saw how they did it on the show, I'm like, oh no, they did it perfectly fine. Like he does have a humbling moment when he realizes, oh, it's not all men. So I think they handled it well.
And I think that goes into episode 2 where they go that is episode 2, right?
Which one?
They go to Kyoshi Island.
Yes, episode 2.
That was my
Called
favorite
Warriors.
episodes. I think that obviously episode 2 we go to Kyoshi Island and we get introduced to the Kyoshi Warriors, and one of the leaders of the Kyoshi Warriors is Suki. I mean, that kind of she stole the show for me. Like when as soon as she gets on screen, and
even with the makeup.
Yeah, and just how they developed the relationship with Sokka, I think. It doesn't feel forced. Like they have one episode to kind of like sell you on this, and it's like it doesn't feel forced. I think they develop. Yeah. They do it at a good pace, and I think for a 1-2 punch for episodes 1 and 2, they were strong.
Yeah,
and I think what was really cool was when Aang goes in like Avatar state, but like it's Kyoshi.
Yeah,
I thought that was super. I thought that was dope.
They did that well,
which is something that a lot of people were talking about because originally when Aang takes up and he's like being used by an avatar from the past, it was Roku. So people were like, man, we wanted to see Roku in that stage in live action, but then we got Kyoshi.
Wait, isn't it Kyoshi in the cartoon as well?
So when Aang first does that, he goes to Roku's island, and then he's like, man, how am I going to like basically learn how to be an avatar? And he was in danger from that of Zhao and Zuko right when he's in front. So then Roku's like, okay, I'm going to basically like just let me be used by you. So but then we got that in episode 2 change up and got Kyoshi instead, which for me was like fantastic.
Wait, but in the cartoon though, does he go into the, I'm trying to remember here because I haven't seen this in a while. Does he go into the avatar state in Kyoshi Island? And when he does, doesn't he isn't it Kyoshi herself?
No,
He goes into the Avatar state, but it's not Kyoshi.
it's not Kyoshi.
It's just Aang.
In fact, in the
It's
book
just
1,
Aang.
2, and 3, we see Kyoshi
Yeah.
minimally.
Minimum. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Which
it's just Aang and Kyoshi.
Which is why, why I thought it was cool, like that they showed that, because it's like you see like clips of Kyoshi, and what she did back in her day.
She's tall.
But I thought that was
Yeah.
dope that they brought her, like
Yeah.
they gave him that ability,
Mm.
where the Avatar is able to take control and do their thing. Because I was like, man, if I was one of those guys and I just saw Kyoshi appear, I'm done, man.
That's wild.
You bow down.
That's
Lisan
wild.
al-Gaib.
No, but I really thought. I mean, I think the internet was just got obsessed with Suki.
Yeah.
At that
And
point.
rightly so.
Rightly so.
Exactly. So it's like what you're watching it for the plot, but the plot ended up being Suki.
The plot
Yeah.
ends up
She
being
is a
Suki.
plot.
And I like I said again, I think I like the way that they did the relationship between Sokka and Suki,
Yes.
and I think that they ended, like, it also proves a point to Sokka that it's like he's trying to be all this like tough big guy,
Macho man. Yeah.
and he just gets humbled and puts in his place by
A woman.
this girl.
Yeah.
The vulnerability.
And I think that he learns, obviously he learns the lesson. He learns his lesson, and he sees that like all the Kyoshi warriors are formidable,
Mm-hmm.
and that they're just not people that you mess with. And I think he moves on from that, and I think he learns from it. And I think he grows from his, like, he learns from his mistakes as he grows on. I think I enjoyed the Sokka character
Yeah.
arc in this show.
Exactly. And then that dynamic between him and Suki was like, after he was learning from Suki, he didn't consider himself that of a strong warrior or protector anymore. He was
Yeah.
like, man,
He was humbled.
he was humbled.
He was lost for a second.
But then Suki was able to basically give him that confidence
Mm.
back. And that's key, especially as we lead on to the episodes and how Sokka becomes a better warrior.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on episode 2?
Man,
Fantastic.
I think you said it
So-
best on that chat. I don't know if I'm gonna paraphrase you because
Yeah, go ahead.
it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I think I've never seen Gabriel write such poetic, beautiful,
He has his
erudite
moments. I'll say that for sure.
words. Yeah, he said, "If Aang dies in season 2 and all we have is Zuki, it's worth it."
Yeah, if Aang just like was not the Avatar and the show wasn't about him, and then the Avatar reincarnates and becomes Suki, I'll watch that.
I watch it.
I'll watch season 2.
So already from that of episode 1 and
Easy.
2, the live action is doing fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
doing a great
It's
job.
doing a good job,
so
yeah.
far. And I think it gets a little maybe a little slower towards
Yeah.
like 3 and stuff like that. And then I think how you were mentioning with Roku. I think that Roku is one of like the main mentors, I think, to Aang.
Yeah.
In the animated show.
You don't see that here.
Yeah, it's more like, it's just they focus heavily on Gyatso.
Yes.
And Aang goes to the different avatars and he asks for like help with individual things, but he was going to Roku a lot for
Yeah,
advice and stuff like that because he'd be able to talk to them. And I think they gave more the opportunity to speak to Gyatso more.
Yeah.
That one more time. In the
Yeah,
spirit
I
world.
think the first, if I'm not mistaken, he only gets to see Gyatso once.
Yeah. Once
After
Once in the
everything that
show,
happened,
once
yeah.
in the show, and then
animated
during
show.
the spirit world
Yeah.
in episode 3, right?
Yeah. And so I think that they were like, Gyatso is the mentor figure, I think, overall. And obviously the other avatars do help when they
Yeah.
can.
I do think they deviated this in the show, like you're talking about, right? Is that he constantly had Roku, right?
Yeah,
as a
constantly.
mentor. In this show, there is no one. He does not have anyone.
He's trying to figure
He's
things
trying
out.
to figure things out on himself.
In fact, he learned so much about him and himself and the past avatars from Zuko's book.
Yeah, exactly. It's him learning. He doesn't know anything, and I think that's the reason. I'm not even sure why, but that might be the reason why he doesn't learn how to waterbend in book 1
Yeah. And
or season 1. I'm sorry.
That was the point of contention for a lot of people.
Yeah,
That he doesn't even bend. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's a valid argument,
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a valid thing to be upset with. But I think it could have been a lot. I don't know. It could have maybe been too much. I think the uncertainty that follows Aang throughout this season of like he's the Avatar, but he's a kid
yeah.
and he's a little boy, and like he's also a kid like that's out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of
trying to
his
catch up.
everyone that he lived with, everyone that he knew got massacred and killed.
Yeah.
And then he has to wake up 100 years later. That's a lot to put on a child.
Yeah. And that's why you need mentors. You get me?
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I didn't like. Like, you're right. Everything you said is solid. He needs help. He gets minimal help in the show so far.
Which is why, like, I can see it. And also, they need more content for the following season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So they'll probably do like what, maybe like 3 other ones or 4 other ones with each of the
4 other what?
seasons after this one.
Seasons? Maybe. I don't know.
3. But
You have enough content next season. You get tough.
Which is something that we're all anticipating for.
No, we know that they're re-signed for seasons 2 and 3.
yeah, they have to.
They have no. They've already mentioned it.
Yeah.
I think Sammy put it on the chat. Did you put that video?
I believe so.
That TikTok,
Yes.
right? Where it's what's his name? Firelord guy's name.
Was that
No, yes, but the actual actor's name.
Daniel Day Kim?
Yeah, he's the one that introduces to them.
Confirms.
Confirms to them the good news, and he throws them on the loop. He's like, he makes it seem like, hey, good job. No, we're not gonna get brought back. But then, like, bam! Not only are you gonna get brought back for season 2, you're getting brought back for season 3,
Which is exciting.
I think that's the right decision.
which I feel like it is the right decision because these characters are already actors are already growing, and you gotta film season 2 and 3 back to back.
That kid's gonna grow
that
fast.
kid, yeah. He's gonna grow up fast, and he's not gonna be. You get me? This whole story takes place within a year.
Yeah.
They might have to change that because these kids are actually growing.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I'll accept because I mean, what are you gonna do?
What are you
Like,
gonna do,
just
right?
film
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
back to back to back to back? Nah.
What is it, Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. I'm like, you can't do that. You're not Peter Jackson.
One thing, Link, that I know that I wanted to talk to you about is what happens in episode 4, which they gave us a backstory.
It's beautiful. It's poetic.
Of how, in fact, Iroh and Zuko actually bonded.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
So we know that Iroh loves Zuko, right? We
Mhm.
know that Iroh is there to help Zuko out.
Like a
We
father
don't,
figure.
like a father figure. We don't really understand why much of the show. I mean, until like book 2.
Mm-hmm.
But in this show, what they did was they introduced it on early, and to me it only it's refreshing, but at the same time it's reinforces the beauty of Iroh and his love and his genuine love for Zuko, and
He's a dad that stepped up.
he's literally the dad that stepped up. Yeah. We have that scene where Iroh is he's at the funeral of his son. What's his Lieutenant? And you get me? He I'm assuming he just got
That's Iroh's lowest moment.
lowest moment because not only does he lose his son, but doesn't he also lose Ba Sing? Is it Ba Sing Se?
Yeah, he was trying to conquer
Ba Sing Se. He loses it. He's just there. It's quiet. So watching. Going through the motions, right?
Exactly. And then people at the
At
funeral were calling him like a failure, like an embarrassment.
And that's something that
Like
he has to learn.
His son
with.
is dying a hero, but then Iroh is
not.
is a coward.
Yeah, because he.
Crazy.
So even his brother Ozai doesn't give him the proper respect, right?
Yeah.
And this new scene, what they do is Zuko. He comes and he's like, hey, Lieutenant was a brave soldier. He gave me this medal, and I want to give it to you. And then he sits there with Iroh throughout the whole ceremony.
Sometimes that's all you need.
And that's sometimes all you need. He's not even talking. He's just there. It's what you call like a presence, a ministry of presence. You're just there for someone to help them out. And I thought that was beautiful. And if you actually, before that, you see, there's this popular still in the cartoon where it's Iroh and then the picture of Lieutenant in the background. You also see that here.
Yes.
In their own way, but it's beautiful. So I think to me, that was my favorite part of the show. Like that right there is a reason, besides Zuki, that you create the show. It gives you that, and you understand too. Zuko doesn't hate Iroh at the beginning. He's annoyed of him. But you see why, like, he loves him.
Exactly.
Here. Like, you can see Zuko actually cares for Iroh. You don't really get that in the show, in the cartoon, at all. He just there. It seems like Iroh is just there to mentor, bother him, make sure that he's okay, right? Which can be a little bit annoying. And he learns later on that his uncle does love him, and he's there because he wants what's best for him. But here you see Zuko loving, caring for Iroh, and I thought that was beautiful.
And then a few moments later, then we have finally the Agni Kai between Zuko and his
Ooh.
dad, when Zuko was trying to basically save the 41st.
Yes, and that was I'm sorry, I don't remember the cartoons, but was that part of it as well? No, right?
There was different.
I don't think it was like that.
It was
not
like that, right?
It was a variation.
Yeah.
You know, like General Zhao was in the picture too.
Yeah.
You know, Zuko's mother was in the picture too. So little things like that.
Mm.
But yes, we see Zuko trying. He was in his first war meeting, speaking out to that of a general or leader, then having to basically pay the price and have the Agni Kai, because not only did he disrespect the leader, but he disrespected his father.
Yeah.
So his father was the one who he had to fight. And then after everything, the Scar, Zuko was at his lowest point.
Yeah. And who's there for him?
And who was there for him?
Yeah, I think, and that was the point that I was reading that people didn't like either.
What?
That Zuko fights back.
Fights
'Cause
back what?
He fights Ozai, because in the show he doesn't fight back. He doesn't do. He just. He doesn't fight at all. And then people were upset that he's like, why is he fighting back? Like, that's the whole point of, you know, to show like Zuko's character that he doesn't want to, like, you know, go against his father and that he's sorry and stuff like that.
But they do that well because
I thought it was fine. Like,
he shows his dad mercy.
Exactly.
And that's what he does. The dad doesn't like.
And that's going to be a key, I believe, in Zuko's character development, because Zuko's dad, Ozai, was saying compassion is weakness. And right now, Zuko thinks compassion is weakness. But I think as we go along and he spends more time with Aang and Iroh, you know, it's going to be, hey.
I thought Ozai Ozai,
great.
he was great. It's different, I think, because in the show, he is this evil overlord. Like, he is this, like, there is no, because in the Agni Kai, like, when, like, Zuko, like, kind of, like, shows him a bit of mercy, there's a bit of remorse for what Ozai has to do. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just how I took it. But, like, before he's going to do it, it looks like he just feels a little bit bad about what he's about to do. And that was a difference for me, where it's like, that's like a subtle thing that's such a huge difference in a character.
Yes.
That it's like, and I like, looking back on it, like, at first I was like, that's different. And, like, because to me, you know, Mark Hamill playing Ozai is like
ruthless.
This character's beyond reproach. This character's, there's nothing redeemable about this.
Yeah,
like, there's no redeemable quality. Which is, the same.
This guy's committing genocide.
Which is the same thing that we're gonna go to, like, with Azula as well.
Mm-hmm.
What they did with her character. But, like, Ozai isn't this guy that's like, I would never see him, like, you know, bat an eye to doing what he did to Zuko.
Yeah.
Not feel bad. He's his father, but, like, the character of Ozai is just like, he cares about power more than anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's different. And I understand, like, to get a show, like, you have to make things appear differently, because to a wider range of audiences, like, yeah, there's a bit more nuance to that, where it's like, oh, it's a father that has to discipline his son, that, like, he kind of has to, and he has to be very severe with it and very strict.
It's like tough love, but without the love.
Exactly. And, like, with Ozai, I can get it with that. But what they did with Azula, I wasn't that impressed with.
No, yeah,
I wasn't too happy with that.
I do wonder this. There's a trade-off in the show. Season 1, book 1 of the animated show, you don't see Ozai at all, right? You actually don't even see Azula either.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you see more of Ozai, right? And you see Azula. I wonder if the trade-off of more Ozai makes Azula weaker.
Like, soft?
Soft, yeah.
It could be. Like,
because they're like, Ozai is a presence, like a presence to be scared of, right?
Yeah.
And then you can't really compare him to Azula, but so that's why, to me, Azula looks weak in the show.
Yeah, she does.
I didn't like Azula.
I
also didn't like her acting.
Me, like, same. I agree. Which, I mean, I hope they can go further in.
Prove.
If they go into, like, the next, they can still do it. Like, next season, where, like, she goes through things that just makes her utterly insane.
She's gonna be like the main.
Like, she deteriorates.
She's gonna be the Zhao of season 2.
Exactly.
And she deteriorates throughout the season. Then I can be like, okay, then this is fine. Then my gripes can be dismissed.
Yeah, they began a little bit off, but I think as she's,
I hope so. I hope
so.
I hope
She's
they
not
course
allowed to
correct.
deteriorate until the end.
Yeah, because, like, but, like, the thing is, like, the same thing with Ozai. But I think it's a good point that you were saying, because, like, Ozai is the way that he is. Maybe she's a bit more soft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because in the show, like, in the animated show, she is like her father.
No,
like,
she's ruthless. Yeah,
ruthless, insane. Like
there is no mercy shown or compassion shown by her.
Yes.
and it just they do show her a bit like weaker. Like she's going through challenges and like they give her like her own little storyline and plotline. But like, to me, I don't know. Azula has just been this like she's a character that's there for Zuko. She's a kind of like a plot point for Zuko in a way. I don't really like. I'm not too interested in her, motivations for doing things. Like she is, I mean, then that can be like someone else might disagree with that, but she is like what Zuko isn't.
Yeah,
she is what Ozai wishes Zuko was.
A child prodigy,
but he isn't. And I think the back and forth between, which I'm excited to see, the back and forth between like the ideology of Ozai versus Iroh.
Yeah.
And like kind of like the battle for his soul type of thing.
Yeah.
I think something that I really loved about the animated show, and I'm excited to see and I think we're starting to see the beginnings of that in the live action.
Yeah. It's cool because you see mentor and mentee versus mentor and mentee, right? You have Iroh with his mentee Zuko, and then you have Ozai and his mentee, what's her name again? Azula, right? And like you said, it's a battle of ideologies, right? Well power, all about power. You got to be strong. You can't show any compassion versus compassion is strength.
Exactly.
And I didn't like that they made Azula so weak, but I feel like because she started here in the bottom and they trained her up, next season, that's it. She's gonna be a complete badass. Like she is the one that you have to stop.
Yeah. Because
we saw her train. We saw what she went through. We saw her go through no mercy, and that's what she's gonna show.
Yeah, and I think looking back at it, I think they're showing what both of these characters are going through, because I think it's going to lead up to that final Agni Kai.
Yeah.
Oof. And I think that's going to lead up into the emotion of the buildup of like, this character's been going through this character's been going through this, and then when we get to that final moment, that's going to go crazy.
I don't remember, but did we see blue fire?
We saw yes.
Like from Azula?
The rainbow fire.
Very quickly.
Oh, okay.
Very quickly, she like, her fire like...
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Agni Kai and
No, I meant in the show.
She gets pissed. Like, she gets really mad at something, and her fire goes blue for like a second, and then it goes back to normal. And then I think she shoots lightning at the end.
I did not like that.
I didn't like it
that
either,
showed lightning, but that's because I do think lightning is...
It's a tease.
I think lightning... but
she's not there yet. I don't think she's there yet.
No, because I think lightning should be exclusive to Iroh. You get me? That's his thing. He's the one that invented it. By studying... what was it? Was it the waterbenders?
That he studied the waterbenders of how to redirect
the lightning. Exactly.
But the
so that's why
firebenders can.
But that's why I thought it was him that. Oh, you're right. That about the redirect. Okay, yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. See, that's why this guy's here, man.
And the thing I also like about it is that like, Iroh was a ruthless savage before.
Yeah,
Iroh was that guy, and I think it was one of the best parts of the show too, where they're transporting him as a prisoner.
Yeah, that's episode 4, the same episode. Yeah.
That's
and then the Earth Kingdom soldier talks about like basically his trauma that Iroh puts him. He killed all of his friends,
rightly so.
And like what is it? The dragon of the West?
The West.
And it's like Iroh is that guy. Iroh was that guy, like he is that guy you don't mess with. He's like, I'm pretty sure he would have taken Ba Sing Se, but I think the loss of his son changes his life.
It's a catalyst that transforms him.
I think like obviously Ozai and Iroh come up, very soon. Obviously the brothers, they come up the same way, and like I said, they both probably have that same ideology of power and just violence and just overpowering your opponent. But I think the loss of Luten humbles Iroh to the point where like he has to see a different way, and there's so many times where he restrains himself, like when the guy's like basically spitting on him and like like being just in
the prison scene,
disrespectful,
like when they're in the forest like traveling and they're just like and he's like about to drop something on him. Iroh's just gonna take it because Iroh like understands what he and you can see like the restraint on his face where he's visibly upset. Like you don't let someone.
And that's beautiful.
And like he's trying to I'm pretty sure he could like do something to him, like mess him up. But he chooses not to because he knows that like he put that person through all this, and he understands that anger, and he sees that with Zuko.
Yeah.
He sees all the anger and like the complaining that Zuko does because it's like he got treated that way about his father, and like he's trying to like find his way in the world, and that's what Iroh is for. He's a presence that like he's his rock, kind of to like guide him to find his own place, not do everything for him, but kind of like be that little like voice in his ear, would be like, all right, maybe this is where you should go.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what you should do. But like he understands that Zuko has so much anger inside of him. He's so much fire inside of him based on like what he's gone through. And I think that going back to the situation with what was the company? What was the name of his
The 41.
The 41st or
The
whatever.
41st, yeah.
I think that was fantastic how they
how
they start off with that and be like Zuko.
This guy's a jerk.
Zuko sticks his neck out for these. Yeah, Zuko obviously he's a jerk to the people.
Yeah.
But it's like you find out later on where it's like Zuko stuck his neck out for people he didn't even know. Like he was like, these are soldiers they're just gonna send their cannon fodder. They're just gonna be sent to die.
To sacrifice.
And Zuko, like just who he is, does not see that as, why are we doing this? What's the point?
Yeah.
That's like needless loss of life. And I think Iroh understands that like Zuko having that one quality, and I think Ozai and Iroh both understand that like there's something different about Zuko.
Yeah.
From Azula, from Iroh, and
even Sozin.
Ozai. Yeah. From people in the Fire Nation,
stands out,
he's just, that's a different quality that they don't really have.
Yeah. And that's from his mom.
Exactly.
His mom, yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't have.
We haven't seen her.
We don't have to go in detail of like who his mom is, because of who her
or her dad.
were.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what? You were talking about that, like that Iroh goes through so much restraint, and watching the show, I'm like, bro, Iroh, humble these people, bro.
We wanted to see,
bro, like Iroh, go crazy, like do what you do, bro.
Because
show them who's the dragon of the West.
Exactly. We know that Iroh is one of the best firebenders.
Yes.
We wanted to see a little bit.
It was just
action.
like, but it's so humbling and I love it because that's not who Iroh is.
Exactly.
You get me? But I want him to anymore. But I want him to because I know what he can do.
Because you see the shades of who he was in the past, and it's like before he'll decimate, like he'll flame that guy up,
bro. Bringing lightning bolt him.
And but then it's like the restraint that he has is like even when the guy has a giant boulder over his head and is about to kill him, he's just like, all right, do what you're gonna do. That is restraint, where it's like you're letting someone, like you're putting your life in someone else's hands and like just being okay with whatever happens.
Oh my goodness,
that's true strength though.
That's different. I think I think they got him spot on with Iroh.
You guys are making me love that character so much more.
I
think the actor did a great job too.
Yeah, the actor. I mean, you were You know what's crazy? And I think it was you the one that told me this, Gabriel. That the actor that plays Iroh, the guy from Kim's Convenience, is younger
than
Ozai, than Daniel Day Kim. Which
Daniel Day Kim is a specimen.
Yeah,
man. That guy that's wild.
That's why. Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know if it was one of you that showed me the TikTok of like them like in an interview together and then talking about each other, and I thought that was beautiful. Like the respect
they have for each other,
the respect that they have for each other, and and that's when they mentioned like, oh, like he's younger than me, like I'm younger than him, like, but like look at the difference. And I think that was another thing. I think on social media, seeing all the interviews about like the cast and the story and stuff like that, I thought that was very fun. I thought that was very. They looked like the cast had a lot of fun, and they're like they look close at least.
Yeah. You're right. They're having so much fun. They're like, wow, I wish I could hang out with these people. My problem is that you see more personality outside of them, than in the actual characters.
Especially when they're reacting to how everything went.
Yeah, I just feel like, man, I think
they're rewatching the show.
You should have given Katara a little bit more personality.
I think, but I also think.
Maybe you get that later, character development.
No, but I think it's the...
Maybe her acting.
I think it's because she's green. I think it's because she doesn't have a lot of experience.
Could be.
I think that... Because think about it. Like, if you don't have any... You don't have a... What's it called? A baseline to go off of. You don't have a reference point to go off of, like, how the show's going to... Now that they have season 1 under their belt, and, like, they know how everything, like, went that way, and, like, they'll probably have a clear direction. Obviously, input for the fans and, like, where they want to go with the story. I think, like, you can only go up from there for season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely think, like, and that's why I'm excusing it. That's why, like, it's not, like, it's not the end of the world for me for the show. Like, I'm not going to rank on the show because, these kids weren't the best, like Emmy-winning actors,
Yeah.
Like, that stuff, like, I can overlook. It's going to, like, bring it down, but it's not going to, like, make the show unwatchable or unbearable,
The show's good.
I think the show's good. I
don't think it's great, but it's good.
Yeah. I think... I like that it exists more than like, I like having it more than not.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a Suki. But I think that it is
producers, you guys did the right thing.
I think it's a step in the right direction. But I was like the concept of bending, to be able to see that in live action is sick to me. I think it's so cool, and that's another thing where it's like,
Really? I have the opposite.
really? You don't like bending?
No, I think you're right. I think bending's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think live action bending is silly.
Why?
It looks stupid.
Why?
All those moves that they do look silly to me. And I feel like that doesn't translate well from the cartoons.
If you go into, I mean,
And
obviously
even
it's
in
gonna
the
look
movie,
animated. Obviously,
even
I
in
get
the
that.
movie, even in the movie as well. Like it to me, it's just cheesy.
It's tough. They do a good job.
They do a good job, yeah.
With earth bending, fire bending, air bending. I think they were just a little bit weak
With water.
Weaker with
Well, yeah, I don't know. To me,
Oh, water's hard. Well, like
Yeah.
that, I think that effect is hard to do.
exactly. To me, just bending overall, like
I think that stuff.
looks
I
weird.
think that stuff looks cool. Like at least from the first episode, that looks sick. When it gets to like the Boomy fight, I think
Toph is gonna.
I think they're gonna step it up a Toph.
Yeah.
they have to.
I
You
think
have
they-
to.
I think
Especially
they're
how
gonna step
she
it up a Toph.
sees the world.
Who do you guys think is gonna play Toph?
I have no idea.
The Rock.
The Rock, Vin Diesel.
What's the other one?
But they gotta give us the boulder.
You know, you can get The Rock for the boulder because he is the inspiration of the boulder.
It's
I
true.
don't think you have the money to get The Rock.
I think The Rock should do it anyways.
The boulder does not feel.
It's conflicted.
It's conflicted.
I think the show had a bit.
I'm excited for that scene.
I don't think that's funny, but I think the show has its points of humor as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think most of the time it comes from Sokka.
Oh yeah. Sokka definitely he's always going to be
He's
a
a
comedic
comedic.
relief, you know.
But that's because the show is darker.
Yeah,
That's
That's
where
true.
it stands out from the cartoon.
that's true. So any other likes, dislikes that we have from the show?
Let's talk about Princess Yue.
That's
What are your
yeah. I mean,
thoughts?
if we talk about like the last episode, that's where my dislikes come in
Hmm.
because
I think Yue is the best actress on that show, or like out of the younger people, out of the younger characters.
oh yeah,
Aside from like, she is probably I think she has the most experience.
she has the most experience. She might be the best actress. I just feel like they could have gotten someone else to play Yue
And maybe just
because
maybe get a better wig.
And that's the thing. And here's one of the things I disliked about the show when you get to episodes 7 and 8 when you go to the water.
Yes.
Even though you see it throughout the whole movie. Show. To me, the wig, the costumes, I believe they look better in the movie than that live action. They look kind of cosplay-ish to me.
There has
Some
to
of
be,
them.
There has
Some
to be a
of-
fix.
nah,
in
they-
hopefully
some-
season
Yeah,
two.
there's something that's
Some of them,
off.
though.
Some of them, not all of them, but there's some that it's off.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Like they did a good job with Kyoshi Warriors.
Yeah,
I think so.
it's just like it just doesn't feel professional. It feels kind of like, all right, this is
Same thing like how they are putting the hairstyles for that of Azula and May. I didn't like
that,
their
yeah.
hairstyles.
the has just. I don't like the wig that they gave Yue. However, I did hear that there is like a lack of wig prop masters
Mm.
in the world of
So if
Hollywood.
you're a prop master, please.
there you go. They
If
need
you're listening to this and you're deciding on a career,
Mm.
yeah.
there's
that.
there's a demand.
There's a demand. You might be able to put a wig on the moon. So
That's true.
that's true. But yeah,
Which makes Princess Yue one of the most pivotal characters.
she is
Yeah.
pivotal. I
Yeah.
didn't like the actress. I
But-
didn't like how she looked.
At least they did a good job.
I think
I mean, I would have loved to have her for at least one more episode, but they did a good job of forming that chemistry between her and Sokka.
I felt it was
which is
kind of
important.
rushed.
It was rushed, of course,
Yeah.
but they only
I think
had
it
two
had to- I
episodes.
It
think
had
it
to
had
be
to be
rushed. That's the
rushed.
thing. I also thought Kyoshi was kind of rushed. Suki was kind of rushed too.
I think they did a better job of it.
But I think
though.
they did a better job. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they focused on. I mean, that's the thing because
The
those
crazy part
those
is-
two episodes they have so many other things to cover that
Yeah.
it's like with episode 2 you're just starting out. You have more time to spend with Suki and Sokka.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought that the girl that plays Yue in the movie,
Could have
Asami.
probably. could have-
Asami, yeah, that girl was beautiful.
Yeah. Maybe
I-
they could.
I don't think you can bring her back. She's too old now.
Yeah.
She's not a teenager.
I don't know. She still looks.
She still looks young. She's, I believe, maybe in her late 20s. Suki is 24. So
So then, leading on to Princess Yue, and basically, like, we haven't talked about Zhao yet and his plans of how he's planning to conquer
yeah, it's similar.
the
Yeah,
North. Any thoughts on those?
I feel like that
Zhao-
those ideas were rushed at the last episode. Like the
Yeah.
last 30 minutes, that's when they introduce what he wants to do, why he wants to do it, and it's like I felt kind of rushed.
Yeah, I think like maybe 2 more episodes they would have been.
Yeah,
I think it would have been.
I think
solid.
one more. Like if you give us more lore on Princess Yue and what she like, if you develop that, like what she did, why she's important, why she's important to the moon.
She's so nice. This is what happened to her in the spirit. They also made that spirit world connection.
Yeah.
I like that with Sokka. Yeah, I like that.
But it felt rushed. Like one more episode would have been better.
No,
or more time. I don't know.
It's true. And then like how we wanted more from Iroh when Zhao did what he did. You know that in the animation, Iroh went off.
he cooks him.
He killed him in this episode.
Cooks
He
him.
killed him.
He doesn't kill him here.
Yeah, he does.
I thought he just hits him and then he falls into like water or something, doesn't he?
No, here he burned him alive, and then he falls into the water.
Oh.
That's in the live action or
in
animation?
live action.
I thought it was Zuko who was fighting.
No, Zuko was gonna fight him. They were gonna do Egnikai like right in the freaking in the middle of what's going on, which is terrible timing, right?
Terrible. That was a funny one. Yeah,
But-
terrible timing.
But no, Iroh kills him. He like burns him and he falls on the ocean. Because I realized because then that
I remember him falling. Yeah.
because that's like Iroh is him. You see it.
Exactly.
You see it now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now I believe that's what happens.
No, he does kill him.
He does kill him, or I'm assuming he kills him. You get me? Like
I mean, he kills him.
what happens to Zhang in the cartoon again?
Doesn't
Iroh cook him?
I don't remember. I think like something
in-
silly happens. to
Iroh
him.
cooks him
No.
like off screen though.
in the cartoon, Iroh warns him, if you do this and you continue, I will
would have to.
unleash tenfold on you.
Yeah,
And he does.
He cooks
but we don't
him.
see it.
But we like it's off screen. Like I think they just like he does it, but they don't show. They just move on to the next scene.
It's quick, but you see the ferocious
Yeah,
Iroh.
bro, you gotta show us. I mean, you kind of see it too in the like he says, "Hey, he gives him the stern warning.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go all out."
Exactly.
Man, I wish we saw that. We would have seen that scene.
And one thing that now that we're on the 7th and 8th, we've basically reached the end of the season. And we have been asking, where is Aang going to learn who he
Waterbending.
is? Or like his
I also thought
mentors.
Katara was got to a rank of master a little fast.
Oh my goodness, that was
I
too
think, I think that was a little
Rank
I
of
think that was a
master. She's
little-
not even a master, bro.
Bro, he calls her master, and then they're all like talking to her about master, and then that's another thing. She says it herself. She's like, "I'm a master," and I'm like,
No. She goes, "I'm a master," without acting. I'm a master.
So I think everything towards the last 2 episodes was a bit rushed.
Yeah.
And I think now that she's a master, she's gonna probably teach Aang.
Yeah, I mean, you do see more of that in season 2. Book 2, I'm sorry. But you do see it in season 1 as well. And it's one of the reasons why like Aang starts having a crush on her. Like water bending with her is a bonding experience.
Exactly.
Do you see that happening?
I don't know if that's gonna happen on this show.
They might give us Zuko. And
Oh
Katara.
my flipping
I
goodness,
was looking.
bro.
I was thinking that.
They might give us that just because.
You know why
they
they're gonna
didn't
give us
that in
that?
animation.
You know why they're gonna give us that? Because have you freaking seen Mai how she looks on this show? Of course they're gonna give us that.
Zuko's gonna look at me. and
May's
be
like,
nah.
Nah.
I'm going for Katara.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now they're definitely setting up where that friend zone type of mentality or family type of
Yeah,
or
he got
that
family
of-
zone.
Family zone, yes.
Oh, did you hear about that? About how like there's like a rumor about how about how May got the role?
Because she's dating Stranger Things.
Yeah, Dustin from Stranger Things.
I didn't hear about
And it's
that.
just like he got that role on Netflix, the show.
Look at that.
So I'm
Yeah.
kind of just like,
And to be honest, they can still fix May.
You
If
can
they
because we
fix
didn't
the-
see much. We didn't. Oh yeah, wig wise, yeah.
recast. Yeah. Hey, son of guy. Any other thoughts?
Any other thoughts?
Something that I was gonna say is that I loved how we got more communication and time with other avatars
Yeah, than expected.
than expected, such as one avatar in particular, Karuk. They only show Karuk probably once or twice.
Yeah.
Karuk was a
little
Karuk
punk
was
is-
a,
little
Karuk
punk.
was a wimp.
Yeah, my dude just loves surfing.
But Karuk had a special part to play between the spirit world and
Yeah.
so
The
we don't
He
see
got
that
his girl
yet.
still. He got his girl yeeted by
Exactly.
Ko.
Exactly. Exactly. And then that's something as well that I think they did a really good job of.
Yeah, explaining it a little bit more.
Exactly. And showing who Ko was and also Hey Bye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think
Yep,
the show. I think the show is good. The good outweighs the bad. Like I think what Gabriel said was perfect. I would rather it be. What would you say?
I'd rather it be Basuki.
Yeah, that too. You get me?
I'm glad that I have it rather than not have it.
Yeah, because what they do add to the lore is beautiful.
Exactly. And then you see that in every episode, Aang is trying to figure out how is he basically going to become the Avatar and save. In episode 7 and 8, they put a ton of pressure on him.
Yeah.
Because they know that the Fire Nation is coming. Aang, what are we going to do? And in reality, they're setting up of how Aang is going to defeat the Fire Lord eventually, not by himself,
but with team.
But with
Team
friends.
Avatar.
Team Avatar with friends.
Oh, something I wanted to talk about. What do you think about the monster that Aang turns into? Like him becoming a kaiju?
I was a little worried about that because
I didn't think I liked that.
Even in the show, I was like,
he becomes Godzilla.
I mean, that's what happens in the show. So I was like, in the animated.
I agree with you. However, the reason why I like it in the animated is because the inspiration comes from Miyazaki. It comes from Spirited Away. There is a monster that's like that, the Spirit of the Forest, and it's more Spirit-esque, right? In the
they have
cartoon.
an episode called that, right? There's an episode
Spirited
called
Away.
Yeah, in the show.
Episode
3.
Episode 4, I believe.
4?
Episode 3 was Omashu.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you see that like in the cartoon and in Princess Mononoke, it's more of the spirit of the forest, right? Mm-hmm. The spirit of whatever the water tribe is, right? The moon. Here, he becomes Godzilla. It wasn't as reverent as I wanted it to be. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was. Cool
I knew that. I knew that I wasn't gonna. Whatever it was, if there was in any vein similar to that thing from the animated show, I knew that it was gonna look silly. Like
it was gonna look silly.
They wanted to make it more ferocious.
I don't know,
but Godzilla.
I don't know,
like making him like.
I don't know what you would have done. I don't know what you could have done to maybe just put him in the Avatar state and he just wrecks everything. But I don't know.
I think more Spirit-esque. I don't know how to explain it.
Also, I thought it was super cool at the beginning when he puts himself in, when he goes in the Avatar state and he freezes and the sound just I thought that was sick.
Yeah, they did a good job with those.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. The water monster's a little silly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
But those are the challenges of adapting cartoons. You get me?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Call your character Ong.
No, overall, I think they did a good job, and now we are just excited to see what they're going to do moving forward, especially with casting who Toph will be.
That's
and
gonna
how
be so
she
important.
plays a role.
Yeah.
And then, of course, us seeing the character developments from
Yeah.
everyone else, especially Azula and Zuko moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested.
You got to develop Aang more because that
Exactly.
character was.
And I think the kid. I think he can do it.
No.
think he definitely
I'm
can
talking
do it.
about the character.
No. But at the same time, I think he was a little green as well.
Yeah, he was green too.
Acting wise. But I see he definitely has potential.
Yeah.
He can do it.
Yeah.
He definitely can do it.
And we gotta show Aang learning his elements.
Yeah.
Because
Here's the thing, man. Like for me, in books 1 and 2, the main character is Aang. He's the best character. See, book 3, you can argue. I can see you arguing that Zuko, right?
yes. Very
In
well
season
said.
1, it's all Zuko. Zuko's the best.
I think Zuko's gonna carry the show.
That can't be, bro. It has to be Aang.
I think Zuko's gonna carry the show.
I don't
think
like
it'll
that.
be. I think once they get once it's them together, I think.
But it can't. Aang,
it'll
no, bro.
be there.
Aang is a protagonist. You gotta let him carry something.
Oh no, I agree.
He's not carried anything
But
so
I still
far.
think Zuko's gonna take it.
Oh boy.
I mean, obviously Zuko's just a better actor. Like,
No,
the
yeah, for
character
sure.
that plays Zuko's a better actor. But I think, depending on where they take their story, I don't know. Aang's got to show up and show out.
Really quick. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, so we're getting the seasons 2 and 3, right, of this. But we also know that the creators of the show started their own studio, Avatar Studios. I believe that's what it's called.
Something like that. Sure.
And they're creating their own Avatar cinematic universe, cartoon wise. And they have a slate of things coming out. She's got a.
Yeah, we have a movie.
We have a movie. Is it coming out this year or next year?
Next
It's like Zuko, right? Or is it the one with
They're older.
older, right?
Older.
Like,
We have a movie with them next year. They're
So-
older.
I'm excited for what they are gonna do.
I'm excited for all of it.
I'm excited for all of it,
And I think and I'm sure we'll get into an episode of the other iterations of this, like other stuff about this show, like Korra and stuff like that.
You better not mess up Zaire.
Zahir.
Zahir
Zahir is the best.
Zahir is one of the best villains.
Zahir's the best villain in Avatar.
Avatar. Yeah, he is the best villain in Avatar.
What he does.
And I'm gonna call out Julian real quick, saying that season 3 is the weakest. Get out of my face, dog.
Oh,
What? Yeah, season 3 is not the.
And I was just like, I mean, he got him confused, but still, I'm not gonna let him live that down.
Yeah.
No, he's like, even like he's the best villain out of all, and I think Korra had good villain. Like, no, she had 50% good villains, 50% because
I like the guy from season 1.
because
He's good.
Him and Zahir, but Kuvira and what is his name? Unalaq.
Yeah, those guys are weak.
Those 2 seasons were the weakest for sure.
But Unalaq, I feel like was the weakest for me.
Unalaq was the worst one.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who that is.
That's the spirit one. He's like the uncle or something, right?
The reason why Kuvira was fun is because you had the PTSD from Zahir still in season 4.
He's like
That's
Korra's.
not fun for me.
He's like
bro.
Korra's uncle. We're gonna have a discussion about that. That's gonna be another hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, Korra's uncle, yeah.
Unalaq's.
Oh
Garbage.
yes, I remember who
He
you're talking
tries
about.
to like mix the spirit worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
That's another thing.
But I also think, like,
Get
do you think that moving past even what the animated show does with the original show, do you think that they will move beyond that with live action? Maybe showing some adventures with them being older?
Well, keep in mind, there was
That's the thing, though. Who owns that? You get me? Is it the creators? Is it like
the license to create stories?
more stories? Because what they're doing on is they're working on borrowed
because they're
material.
doing the older. They were going to be older. That's true.
Right? So these people are making. Are you going to compete with them? You get me?
Be interesting.
Nickelodeon. What are you going to do here?
I mean, they don't care. Whatever gets the money.
But that's messed up, though. If anything, you're going to get the original creators angry.
That's a Sony movie. That's
And
a Sony move.
To answer Gabriel's question, they gave us an Easter egg that was not in book 1, book 2, book 3 for the live action. I mean, for the book, they gave us an Easter egg in the live action where they showed the mother of faces. They showed basically Ko's mother, of how, like, remember an episode when Aang finds something like a from that of Roku or from that of Kuruk, and he brings it back to Ko, and then Ko releases the friends. What he brought back was something that is found in the book The Search, as they were searching for
from the
Zuko's mom.
Nice.
Sammy actually read the books.
So it's something where it's like, all right, they gave us a little Easter egg that maybe as we move on, especially with that of season 2, season 3, they were keeping the faith, but they can jump around, which is exciting to see.
Yeah.
And that's why Sammy's the doctor.
Doctor Sam.
I try.
Quick question before we leave. If you could be if you could bend any element, which one would it be?
Well, I think
whatever Sokka is.
Sokka definitely has talent. Let's just say that.
He is a type of bender.
He does bend.
I think the best way to represent. I think the best way
Bendy.
to represent Sokka is he's an excellent swordsman.
Sword bender.
Yes,
Okay.
I can say that because that can go deeper.
Yeah. Deeper.
Go deeper.
Always good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so if you choose,
Yeah.
what would you be?
I think out of all the characters and the elements of that they represent, I see myself as
He's an airbender.
As an airbender, just because of their upbringings, what the monks teach is just compassion and patience.
Same. I'd be an
Ong.
airbender.
He's Ong.
I'm not Ong. Don't disrespect me like that.
He's Angi.
Angi.
What about you, Gabe?
Earth or fire? Probably fire. I've always been attracted to that. I always thought Zuko was the coolest character on that show. And then when you put like lightning into it, I think that's sick.
And then you probably have your own blue or rainbow fire.
What I think is probably the best one.
Yeah.
It's probably water.
The blood manipulation and healing.
That's OP.
I like the healing part. It's pretty cool.
But like blood bending, and healing, that's ridiculous. You can do anything.
And then you'll see in like Korra.
But also what's underrated is earthbending.
I mean, yeah.
With the metal bending and the lava bending?
Lava bending.
I don't even think lava bending's that cool.
The lava bending's a problem. If you like whoever you're fighting,
Yeah, bro.
brother.
Put some water on that.
What are you talking about?
It's
Some
tough-
cold water.
It's tough to pull it out.
Do you know what lava is?
I know what lava is. It's a
You know how crazy lava is?
easy, bro.
It just keeps
If
going.
I'm an airbender, bro, I'm flying out of here. Levitating out of here. Sucking the air out of you.
Levitating.
Hey yo,
Dua Lipa.
that's a good one. And that's how we end.